This is my room, kind of on the corner here. There's the beach. Looking down the street in Acapulco. This is the courtyard of the hotel. There's the swimming pool. And this is access to the beach. It's beautiful. About 94 degrees, I'd say. Maybe more in the sun. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tech Talk number 3. This is the Anarchapulco Trifecta Reflecta with your host, Matt Presti, and to my left, to my right, your left, Yerasimos is from this amazing website, right? Let me get this camera line. There we go, hereforthetruth.com with my special mug. Always a decision every morning for me. Is it unslaved coffee mug or is it here for the truth? It was here for the truth today. Yes, sir. And to my left, your right, Mr. Mike Winner from alphavedic.com. Two great guys who I was so fortunate enough to meet in person. Mike for the second time, Yerasimos for the first time in Mexico. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us, man. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you, Mike. Yeah, looking forward to this chat.
Yeah, I figured we'd get together and just kind of run through the experience. I believe it was all our first time. Is that right?
At Anarchapulco, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
First
man. I
time.
mean, yeah, I just loved it, man. I just loved meeting you for the first time. I mean, it's several years ago I first came across you on the Unslave platform, and we've interviewed you a couple times, and just to give you a big hug in person, man, was pretty awesome. So I had so much fun.
Yeah, if you haven't had a big Greek hug from Yerasimos, you don't know what you're missing. So, Mike, how about you? How was your experience when how would you describe
Well,
it?
yeah, I gotta, agree with Yerasimos. It was really the driving factor of me going there was y'all. was was our friends going. I mean, in all honesty, I've known about Anarchapulco forever. I've wanted to go forever, being in the crypto space back in the day, but I wasn't as drawn to it. To be completely honest, I actually declined at first.
Hmm.
and and then basically I was at Confluence in Texas last year for the solar eclipse event, and with Andrew Kaufman and Alex Zek and Yerasimos and Sophie and a number of other friends. And we were kind of at a after hours get together towards I think it was the final night, Yerasimos, and everyone's like, we're all going to Anarchapulco. Why aren't you going? And I said, well, I guess I'm going. So I hit up Rebecca and I was like, I'm definitely down to go. You've got all the homies. I am in. And looking at that video you were just sharing, Matt, of the hotel, I got to be honest, I'm ready to go back. It's just like coming back to the rain here in the cold winter. You can see we're all sort of tan and
Uh,
feeling good from that beach day. We would go in that ocean every day, together, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say I had a mild sinus infection a couple weeks before, and when I got in that salt water, man, within 2 days it flushed me out completely. It's magical.
Nature's neti
My
pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Same here. When we got back, Lori had to drive up Friday to pick me up Friday evening, and she had to come through a snowstorm of wet, icy snow that basically she was like scared to death driving up to St. Louis. She had to stop for 2 hours on the side of the highway because there were wrecks everywhere. And so, yeah, it was super nice. I mean, the weather, the beach, it was just really, really incredible time.
Yeah. I had a blast with y'all. Mike, how about our flight from Acapulco to Mexico City, where I thought like the shit was gonna fucking shake out of the sky, like last like 20 minutes of that flight, man. That was nuts.
Yeah, there were thoughts going through the minds, not my mind so much, but through some of them there, that this would be a great way to take out a lot of activated souls and changing world,
Did you
because
guys
there
run
was
into
like
some turbulence?
It was
15
the
of us.
most turbulence that I've ever felt on a
Oh,
plane
really?
for that
Wow.
extended period of time. And I actually had that thought. I was like, headline, conspiracy theorists go down in plane from Acapulco to Mexico City, you know. But then we landed, and I was like, okay, cool, we're good.
Right. Well, I'm
Well,
gonna
it
run
took
a
me a lot to make that flight. As I explained, and we'll get into what Matt had got to go through that night, not making the plane, but I had an
right.
hour connection because that was the only way I could get to Acapulco from the woods of where I live in one day. So I rolled the dice, and I had an hour, less than an hour, to get through customs, get on a tram, go to another terminal, find where the heck to go in a Mexican airport, get through security, and run to my connecting flight. And I swear everything happened according to plan. I gray manned, I call it gray manning. I gray manned my way through immigration, like the second part where you're supposed to check your bags. I just kind of went, whoop, nope, didn't do it. Went right through security. They didn't even see me, and pulled some magic.
Wow.
Yerasimos, you saw me come barreling into the
Oh yeah,
gate, like sweating and
yeah.
making it. And then we're on the plane. We're starting to taxi, and I look down and I see a text from Matt. Call me. I was like, oh shoot. When we were talking about you, Matt, we're like, where's Presti? Where's Presti?
Exactly.
Right.
But you got there the next day.
Yeah, I got to sleep in a tiny box. It was like a coffin, because I missed the flight. Security. I gotta learn that gray man routine, bro. That's super
Yeah.
cool. But I didn't gray man. I was sort of like black and white guy, and security had like a line of people with their stuff taken out all over the place, and I'm looking at my watch. It's 20 till, and I'm way in the back of this line, and I finally get up there and I get through. They take all my stuff out of the bags, and it's 2:59, and I'm like, shit. So I asked the guy, which way to this gate? He points, this way. So I go running that way, and it was actually the other direction. So I don't know
Oh,
if he sent me in the wrong direction, like, this gringo's gonna, I'm gonna send him in the wrong direction. But either way, it was a learning experience. That's the first flight I've ever missed. I've flown many times domestically, but being my first time out of the country as well, that was kind of cool to get, stuck in another country's airport where you don't even speak the language. So that was a growing experience. A little stressful, but they say stress is when you're in a stressful situation, you're learning. You've got you're in a real opportunity to learn in stress situations. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you guys too. Overall, let's rate the event. What do you think from a 1 to a 10? And we'll start with just the event overall. No specifics. We'll do the production rating next, but just overall, the whole event in your guys' eyes. Maybe Yerasimos, you go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna give it like I give it a 10 only because I got to hang out with my homies, man. I had such a great week, like hanging out with everyone, like continuing to deepen relationships that I've already had, and then create new ones and meet new people and have lovely conversations and connect. So, I don't know. I give it a 10 for that. Sure, are there little things I can comment on? Of course, but I mean, I just had a great time, a great week, and yeah, excited to have had that experience.
Very cool, Mike.
Yerasimos, such the politician, man. Like you do well on DC. Uh, um, Yeah, no, overall rating 1 to 10, and I go to a lot of these events. I will say, obviously, it's pretty cool that the lineup was like essentially an unslaved alpha cast lineup, like, so that made it pretty badass. I'll give it a 7, man. I'll give it a 7 in terms of overall events, for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, I'd have to say an 8.5 myself. I've
Yeah.
worked a lot of events. I rarely would give something more than a 7 in most cases, but they really, to me, they covered all the bases, so to speak, and they probably had, several years of experience of the pros and cons of previous conferences and whatnot. But overall, I'd say it's about an 8.5 for myself.
Yeah. I
I
give
will.
the extra points because of what had to be done after a freaking hurricane, to bring that together
Yeah.
and for it to go. I mean, it was seamless in on my end, in terms of, I mean, I know we're gonna get into the production of it in terms of, how things went there, but and it was pretty seamless. There wasn't a time where I was like, oh my god, this is horrible. Like, where I can't get a cat taxi. Like, where's this person that I need to talk to? Like, I don't know. I was just kind of hanging out for a week.
Hmm.
Yeah, I will say in terms of production and like how we were treated, 10 and a half, like
Yeah.
10, like it was so. I got to give a shout out to Kat and to Rebecca and their whole team. They really treated us like royalty. There was a lot of intention and heart, you could tell, in terms of how they handled speakers, and they were super professional. The space was beautiful, and considering what it had been through, I would have loved to have seen it before the hurricane. And
Mhm.
those structures that we couldn't access looked amazing. We couldn't access, maybe I would say, what, about a quarter of the whole space, if not more. It was such a cool spot. Those gardens were just breathtakingly beautiful, and overall, yeah, in terms of production and the team, beyond a 10. It was really cool.
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
taken care of
Yeah.
there, and throughout the whole process, from even being invited to then, everything being sorted out for you. I mean, I thought it was excellent in that regards.
Yeah, definitely. And, for a hurricane ravaged area, um, it was really incredible the amount of work that they had to put in just to get the event space, for instance. And I can only imagine what that event space was like before, the hurricane and whatnot. So one thing that I did notice for sure was like, when we were flying out, there were boycotts in front, basically on the road to the airport. And I got to wonder, that's probably to get attention to, sort of a crisis that they're in. If you guys remember looking at Acapulco Bay, how destroyed all these high-rise hotels were, and I don't even think any of them are reopened. Maybe one or two or three, but so you're talking about literally probably tens of thousands of people out of work. And here we have all this money going to Ukraine, yet our immediate neighbor, to our south could certainly benefit from even $1 billion of influx. And it's just a shame to think that the USA's priorities are such that they don't even notice, a neighbor to the south. But what are you guys' thoughts on that, about how the hurricane and whatnot? And, you know, yeah, just share some thoughts on that, if you would.
Well, I
Yeah,
had
go.
the opportunity to drive, uh, excuse me, the coast, to go to Jeff Berwick's place for a little gathering. I think that was Tuesday night. So I got out of Bonefil, which is where we were staying, and got a good eagle eye view of Acapulco Bay and all the destruction, and it was breathtaking, man. Like,
Mm,
these beautiful homes on the cliffside completely gone, like in terms of rooftops gone, second stories gone, all the windows blown out. It was, and words can't words can't describe the amount of devastation. And it's funny, I was talking to my parents when I got back, and my mom wasn't even aware. And my mom's a bit of a normie, and gets most of her news through CNN and Facebook and stuff. And she wasn't even aware of this happening in Acapulco. Like,
hmm, interesting.
so when it happened, of course, it was right when Israel Gaza, war was kicking off. So that was obfuscating the travesty that was going on in Acapulco at that time. And there's a lot of conspiracy theories around this storm and how it came out of nowhere. I guess they do have these, but not that a quote unquote hurricane has never actually hit land like that on the Pacific. So, of course, we were told it's extreme weather from climate change. However, I'm involved with the conference this weekend Hannah Maria is putting on about geoengineering called Clear Our Skies. And it's become quite obvious to most that are in the know that they're ramping up the weather wars to really drive forward the new agenda, the green agenda, and everything. It's playing a really massive part in globalization and the machinations behind Agenda 2030 and World Economic Forum and all that. So we saw there in person the sort of devastation that comes from these weather warfare systems, and it was just insane to see these high rises completely blown out. And it was what was interesting, it was the other side too, from where the storm had come in, right? So that it was such strong winds that had blown out through the whole building. I mean, the amount of force we heard, it was over 200-mile-an-hour winds that were coming in that were sustained. These were sustained winds. Some had called it almost like a tornado that had hit. So it was definitely sort of a vortex type energetic that created this storm that ripped through. And it's really profound. You see it on TikTok and on the news and stuff, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. But to actually go there in person and feel the resonance of how it affected the locals, I think it was really powerful. And we were actually staying right across. Our hotel was right across from that children's housing, right? It was, I don't know if it was like an orphanage or in a school, and actually proceeds to Anarchapulco were going to relief for that really cool school across the way. So that was really nice to see. And they were doing raffles and all sorts of fundraising for the town through Anarchapulco. And I know Jeff and his crew raised something like $500,000 or something for the relief efforts, which was great to hear as well.
Yeah, you got to give it to the team because they really do, take an interest in the recovery effort. And I'd say, isn't Anarchapulco one of the first major events since Hurricane Otis, if I'm right?
Oh, yeah.
So it was in a sense, an honor to be there to help, with, all of us being together to bring sort of an awareness, not only awareness, but just the presence of being, it really was like a war zone, because you had piles of rubble everywhere, and you could tell that there was a frantic effort to get things cleaned up. And you're talking just, it's like 2025 at least before they fully, if not even get back to a fully recovered state.
Well, yeah, and even as you walk around, you just see these massive trees that are uprooted, just lying on their side or just broken in half, halfway down. Like, again, like Mike said, you see pictures of it, but when you see it in person, it just goes to show you the extent of the power of the winds that occurred. But
I also, a number of us got sick while we were there, and I was being as cautious as I could to not drink, I know don't drink the water and all that. I don't have the flora, I don't have the gut bacteria to take that. And I understand that from a trained perspective. But I got pretty violently ill one night. It hit me pretty quickly. Actually, it was that night I went to Burrick's place, which is interesting, and they had a nice spread there. And by the time I was leaving, I was getting the chills. I was like, I got to get out of this air-conditioned house. It's weird. I got to get to the heat. And then on the ride back, total, chills and nausea, and was up all night with a really extreme fever dreams. I talked about it on the live stream at Curtis's channel, but basically time dilation, didn't know where I was, super psychedelic night. It was really trippy and throwing up and, all that fun stuff. And then I was able to power through it with a lot of different therapeutics that I had brought. I brought the alphabetic stuff. And I was like, good. I was good. And also thanks to like Andrew Kaufman gave me some activated charcoal, and Topher Gardner was there. And Topher went through it bad for a couple days. His whole family got sick. Yerasimos, you had a bout with something. So I bring this up because I think actually it was I think that had to do with the storm and the infrastructure issues. That's my theory. I think because of the sewage issues and there was just, I think more than normal, you had sanitation issues, and going out and eating at these places, I think it's much more difficult to keep everything sanitary when you've got such infrastructure damage. So I'm thinking that was probably what was making it more, easier for people that don't live there to get ill, because there was a number of us that went down throughout the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yerasimos, what did you encounter with that?
Well, I think it was the day after I got there. That first night we went out to dinner and at the taco place, like the late night with the big lights. And then, I woke up the next morning and I just wasn't feeling well, weakness, fatigue. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really have a major fever. It was more just feeling really tired and having some stomach issues as well. I mean, I have my own theories too in terms of what happened from an emotional standpoint and a resolution standpoint if we bring in the German new medicine concepts. But and I also agree with what Mike said. It's like it's a new area. You're dealing with things post hurricane. So there's, I think, multifactorial in that regard. But once that first day was, once I got through the first day, I know I missed the launch party. It was smooth sailing for the rest of the time. But it was
Mm-hmm.
interesting just to like get texts like I'm where you were yesterday, or like
I
I'm
was
out for the
there when
count.
that
I'm out
text
for the
came through.
count. What'd you say?
Right. So I was there when that text came through. We were sitting
Yeah,
at the dinner table,
yeah.
and you're like, "Uh-oh." I'm like, "What's that?" I've got what you've got. I go, "Who sent that?" You're like, "Winner." I'm like, "Oh no." But
you
yeah,
know,
myself.
It's funny too, because another thing that happened while we were there was 2 earthquakes.
oh yeah, that's I wanted to mention
Yeah.
that before. Yeah,
And the first one was like a smaller one, a rumble. It was like what, around 4.0, and then the second one was around 5.0, and that was at 6 in the morning, around 5:30 in the morning. On that night, I was sick, and I was like in a fetal position on bed. And when that thing hit, it was no joke. It felt like a bomb had hit the hotel or something. It was a big boomer one,
yeah.
right? It kind of just, it wasn't a shaking rumble. It was like boom, and the
Right.
whole
Right.
hotel was shaking, and I did not even move, dude. I was like, I don't care if the whole, like, my floor collapses, dude. I am
But
done.
I think
It's whatever's meant to happen is meant
yeah.
to happen.
I think
Right.
also like for Sophie and me, we live in Southern California, so we get the occasional tremble. So this was definitely like more so, but it like woke me up, and then I was like, all right, I'm just laying in bed. Like I know other people were like jumping up and putting their shoes on and getting ready to run to high ground because the tsunamis were coming, and I was just like, whatever, I think we're good. But we did our sliding door had a fucking crack in it,
Oh
so
wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
yeah.
I leapt from my bed and landed on my feet like a cat. I was ready to bolt out the door because I'm on the first floor and there's 4 levels above me, and I'm like, I'm not getting sandwiched. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was a trip. It was like with the glass doors in front, it's like a headline wind smashed right into it, and it was, I felt the shaking, and when that right after the shaking started, that it's just a massive boom, like a massive wind hit the front of the glass doors, and man, up I went. But and
What's
they had
funny is
another one recently, like I guess it was Saturday.
what's funny is the Mexicans there don't even call that an earthquake.
Yep.
Oh,
They,
really?
that was like a little rumble. I forgot. I'm trying to look up my translator what they call it. I think they
Like
call that
like a tremor.
there's a terremoto, and then, which I think is what earthquake is, and that's like a big one. And then what we were experiencing are just like little rumbles or something. It's not even anything to bat an
Yeah,
eye
they're
at.
used to it. They're used to
Yeah.
it. They
Right.
experience that on a regular basis.
A
Hmm.
ruido, maybe, I don't know, but it's
Right.
yeah. I was talking to that. There was a gentleman there who has been coming to Acapulco for 45 years with his wife to vacation, and now he's retired and stays there for like 3 months at a time. And he's like, yeah, we get these all the time, and
Mm.
he's never in his entire time going there ever seen a tsunami. Meanwhile, Curtis Stone is working on our evacuation plan for the next one, telling us that we all need to keep our passports in our pockets and ready to run. And he was sending us all like the evacuation plan, how fast a human can run miles per
I'm
hour.
like, bro, a tsunami, you gotta like run 9.8 miles with a tsunami coming. I go, I think I'll just climb to the top of a building or climb a palm tree and hope
we
for the
had
best,
that
but-
text thread we were in, and we got the Google Map images with the direction of like, this is where you need to be and get to high ground here.
I just went out and meditated in the sand and really put out my energies, which is kind of what I talked about a bit at Anarchapulco, and was like, let's calm it down, guys. We got work to do here. Mother Nature, let's get in tune. I know you're pretty pissed off these days, but let's calm it down. Let's get it done and get everybody out of here safe. And we didn't have another rumble for the rest of the time we were there. And I will say, going in that ocean, man, how great was that? That was just so healing. That was what got me through. Like, I got up early in the morning after going through that, the shakes and the fever and everything, and got in that ocean and cleansed myself, man. And it's just so amazing.
That late night swim was great. I know we all went out there, and then Presti, you were just chilling and you were like enjoying the stars, and you're like, F it. And you just jumped right in and we're all just hanging out for, a while, man. I don't know, what, 45 minutes. And that was a highlight of the trip for sure. All of us just hanging out underneath the starlight and the moonlight, and just in like an ocean that wasn't very cold. So it was very comfortable.
For me, I think too, getting to meet Alex Zach. I saw him at in Franklin, Tennessee, at the Cause Fest, but never really got to have a conversation. And him, Curtis Stone, Steve Falconer, that guy is as funny as can be. I
actually just listened to your listened to your guys' stream when I was driving home yesterday from my other spot. So I have like a 2.5 hour drive last night, and I love Steve to death. He's coming on AlphaCast actually this Thursday.
Cool.
So we're gonna go deep into his talk about ancient Ireland and all that stuff. But I will say one of the driving points from this event was how incredible it is when you've got rational, heart-centered beings that are really here for the right reasons. While we may have completely different cosmologies and concepts of how the realm works and really what's going on, our ability to have a proper dialectic and actually dive into different opinions and different ideas in a way that is civil and respectful was very clear with like your guys' conversation on that. But overall with all of us, I mean, we had multiple hours of us just chilling and talking at the hotel there, and from completely different perspectives. And it was always awesome.
Right. Yeah, I think me and Mike Wilkerson won the Esoteric Conversation Award for what was it, Sunday night at the little cabana there at the event. But yeah, we had some really great conversations, and it's so nice to be able to talk to someone with a different opinion. And it's very difficult. We talked about this too, but when you have a single-minded point of view, and you're so serious that you become that single-mindedness really overtakes your ability to even listen to somebody talk about something different.
Yeah.
And that's one of the major themes I came away with, is that even Flat Earth Dave, I engaged him for a couple little short conversations, but never really got to ask him any questions that I'd like to have asked. But nonetheless, it was refreshing that the single-minded side of things was not really apparent, and it was a great thing to be able to have conversations, even though your views may differ.
Well, and I
go ahead, Yerasimos.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think it's important to be mindful where your identity is wrapped up in ideology. Because then again, if your beliefs are challenged, then your livelihood and your life and your identity and your sense of self is challenged, and that goes very differently than if you're just like, okay, this is something that I'm curious about, or I believe, and I'm open to maybe being wrong. I think when you can't stand between that tension of opposites that I like to talk about so often, you just get caught in one leg. You don't have both feet on the ground, and you can't get this sense of balance and this curiosity within to be like, hey, listen, I've done tons of research. I know this stuff. It feels so close to me, and like this is what I believe. And there's a little space of I'm open to what you have to say, and I'm open to the fact that I could be wrong. And I think that changes the game in dialogue and conversation. And I think many of us, have that. Obviously, we're convicted. We can be self-righteous with our thoughts and our beliefs, and we're passionate, but we're also curious and open and have active minds.
Yeah, and you got to allow that space. Go ahead,
the
Mike.
quality of the human being that was at this event that we were hanging out with, like people, I think oftentimes have a conception of who these talking heads are on, these digital platforms like Dave Weiss. I know even I came in with a preconceived notion of who that person is. He's awesome. He is a great human being, thoughtful. I mean,
Fun
he would
guy.
message me in the morning, checking in on me. He was my neighbor at the hotel, and hey, like invite me to come out for a swim. He was just a sweetheart of a man, and I think that's something we need to remember too, is we're all just like flesh and blood, human beings here trying our best to figure out what this is all about. And, I know you do have charlatans in this world, especially in the scene, that are snake oil salesmen and all that. And I think, credit to Rebecca, who booked this event. Like, she used discernment. She was flat out and saying, hey, I wouldn't cherry pick the Alpha Cast podcast, my favorite people. And, that was a great honor to myself and Bear, because we take, a lot of pride in the discernment that we have with the guests that we have on. And, it was just validating to me to be able to hang out with these people in person and feel their vibe and know that they're legit. They're legit, beautiful human beings, whether I agree with them or not. They're awesome. So, and Andy Kaufman, how much of a peach is that guy, man? Like, that dude is so fun to hang out with. He may have extreme intelligence and vigor around everything he talks about. It was kind of a running joke David Weiss has, like, where are the documents, Andy, to prove that? Like, everything Andy backs up with, empirical proof, and he'll challenge you left and right on things. But he's an awesome human being to hang out with. Like, he's a real sincere person. So that was really cool to see. It's like, these are all just really wonderful people. And Mike Wilkerson, oh my God, that guy's a beautiful man. We had such a long conversation at Max's bar. I believe it wasn't even a conversation. It was him telling me this long story. I kid you not, for 2.5 hours, I think it was, at his bar. And I was blown away. I was captivated by that man. So yeah, it was so much fun, you guys.
Yeah, it was. So many good folks too. I mean, that's one of the things that I really wanted to stress, that we just had a really great. We kind of formed a natural click right off the get go, because we kind of shared 2 hotels and a common swimming area, and so we were hanging out there, and just the access to the beach and getting to go out into the ocean was just incredible. I was going to ask you guys. One of my chat room members asked, what was the cult factor between 0 and 10? Was it cultish at all? And how would you rate it between a 1 and a 10? 1 being not very much, 10 being very cultish.
The cult factor? You mean like the whole event? I didn't.
Well, yeah. Was it cultish at all? Was there an inner click or anything that you noticed that would render it the term?
I mean, if you want to call like all of us hanging out together a cult, sure, like we had our little clique, we were all hanging out, but I didn't get that vibe at all. I thought there were so many individual minds there that were just hanging out, communicating, getting deep, and honoring one another's individuality. Like, I didn't get a cult vibe at all for the whole event.
I got to agree. I wouldn't say a cult vibe. I will say there were some interesting vibes.
Yes.
That were when we go into the event space. I think so this is definitely a party vibe in terms of, there's a lot of drinking going on, which it's funny. Like, I know, Matt, you have occasional beer here and there, but we're not partiers. We're thinking men. We're here to really kind of go deeper. And both Yerasimos and I don't drink alcohol at all. So
Shit.
I think there was some hungover people in the morning, but that being said, overall, my favorite thing actually in the morning was to watch Steve Falconer come out of his room and creep his way into the ocean to cleanse. And he's not bashful about it, by the way. It's not like I'm calling him out or anything. He's very open about his alcohol consumption. The guy's amazing. He's a total beast. But I will say, yeah, there was some elements to the quote unquote anarchy, like the anarchy stuff that I found quite interesting in terms of sort of like the resonance around some of the folks. And anarchy is a broad definition, right? It's really just about self-governance and about not bowing down to any authority. I will times I felt like maybe there was a lack of spirit there, and I would probably attribute it to people being hungover. But like at Music and Sky, I'm really used to everybody giving you eye contact and like giving you a hug. And sometimes I would be doing that, and like people would be actually feel like maybe I was getting in their space too much, and they would kind of get put on their blockers. So I did notice that a little bit, but overall, I wouldn't say there was any culty vibes at all. I would say the opposite. Actually, it was more of an independent spirit.
Yeah, I hear you there, man. It was interesting just to notice the demographics, just different vibe than Music and Sky, Confluence, etc. And it's like I'm not saying like, oh, this is better. It's just what I like, you know. I mean, I live a sober lifestyle. I have for over a decade, and so I like being able to connect with people on that level and not have like alcohol or consumption or substance, any other substance to be the foundation for an interaction. But that's just my cup of tea. For other people, they like to let loose a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah, I have to agree. As far as the call, I'd say 0 on our end. Not to say there isn't some private interactions that we weren't aware of, but I thought overall that it was a great event. And as for being a part-time drinker here and there, you can't go to Mexico and not do tequila shots. I mean, it just, and so when Steven and I got on air, it's literally 8 a.m. Bro pops he pops a Corona right at the start of our podcast. That was so funny. But what a great guy. What a great team of people that got together for a great event. And
Marjorie was another individual, Marjorie Wildcraft, that's someone I was familiar with, but I had never actually met in person. We've been on multiple summits and conferences and stuff together, and that she is a beautiful soul. We had some really and very eclectic. Like she's had a lot of life experience and travels, and it was really, really great connecting with her on sort of the spiritual side. We got some deep conversations, and I know we're going to be connected, and I'm going to try to get her on AlphaCast and all that. So I would say maybe one of the things lacking in our group is we could have used some more feminine energy. It was a lot of dudes.
I was just I was gonna say earlier. I want to give a shout out to my wife Sophie for hanging with all the homies.
for sure,
You know, like she hung well. You know, like
she did it good.
Yeah, she did it good. So I'm a lot of love. I'm really blessed to have her as my wife, and you know, to be there and to be presenting with her was pretty amazing. And also for her just to be able to hang out. And you know, as a husband, I'm not like she was like on top of me, being like, oh, I need this from you, I need that. Like she can hang, and so I'm grateful for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk too a little bit. Great for coming on, guys, last minute and just doing this debrief. You know, as a firefighter, we go on calls, and generally, if it's a big enough call or a structure fire, we'll do a debrief in the meeting room just to say what can we do better next time and all that good stuff. But just wanted to ask you if you get invited back next year, are you going to go?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Okay, listen. I have an emotional authority from a human design standpoint, so I don't make any decisions right away. But I'd have to feel into it because at one point I was like, I don't know if I wanted to because the flights and getting there, and it was like, did I want to deal with it? But then, like having the week that we had, and especially after the first day where I missed the launch party, I wasn't feeling well. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again. But then the week went, and I had so much fun hanging with you all. So it would depend. It would depend on the timing.
Sure.
Yeah. It's funny. My gut reaction at first would be like, I think I'm good. I got my Anarchapulco in because it was just a lot to get there. And I was gone from my family a long time. And I don't know, it's a tough time of the year to bring my family out. with everything going on here. However, my dad like told me a couple days ago he would be interested in going next year, and I would do everything in my power to get Bear Lando there, because I will say this, like, so many conversations, Bear, and I texted him this. I was like, Bear, you could have filled in the gaps with your amazing wisdom and knowledge around, because we were doing a lot of law talk, right? I mean, it was all because Curtis was there, Curtis Stone, who's really into that, and Andrew Kaufman, who's really gone into that, and I love that stuff, and Alex Zek, who's super into the law. So we were having these like roundtable discussions on different remedy and concepts around law, and I was just thinking, man, Bear, God, we need you here, because really, I mean, we're at the forefront, like definitely at like pioneering a lot of stuff, and he was doing that decades ago. So he doesn't like to travel. It's hard to get there, so I don't know if that would ever happen. But if there was some miraculous way that I could get my dad and Bear there, I would definitely go back. And also just to honor Rebecca, who just did such a wonderful job, and their production team with Kat at the helm. Really spot on, man. Once again, felt just totally taken care of. And so yeah, it's up in the air right now because it's so recent. But if I could get my dad and Bear there, very well would love to go back.
Yeah.
Right.
I know Joel was gonna maybe come last minute for a spot. He decided not to, but like again, like if he and I were asked to do something or speak together, that'd be exciting. But I don't know. We'll see. You know,
Yeah.
right now I'm excited for Confluence and then Music and Sky. So, you know, I love these in-person
Right.
events, which is something I do want to highlight too, because I love that so many of us have connected online, but there is no substitute to being together in person and hugging one another and feeling each other's energy in the flesh. And I'm grateful that I'm able to, you know, go to these types of events and have these experiences.
I mean, and Matt, there were times like where I was laughing so much I was starting to cramp up under my ribs
Right.
because of the crew that we roll with. Like Yerasimos and I and Alec, Zach, we've been doing a lot of these events together, and we love it because we just feed off each other with our frat boy humor. And it's just so much fun, man. Like, it's just so fun. So it's a lot. Like, I definitely lost, like going to Anarchapulco, I lost money. They helped cover some of the flight, but it wasn't all my flight. Like, you spend money going to these things. Like, I definitely, I didn't do a workshop. The smarter guys like you, Matt, like did workshops and charged for that. I just wanted to spend as much time as I could with everybody and networking and stuff. And not next year, if I go, I will try to do a workshop probably on Chordal. But yeah, like it's a lot of work, but it's so much reward for the point being in person. And I met so many awesome people, like the whole crew that was doing the massage from Oaxaca. That's like this whole awesome herbalist sort of wellness troupe, if you will, that were there, and they were badass on guitar. The two guys that kind of were the main dudes were just totally crushing at Max's bar at night. And then like their whole gang was really cool. They had these Brown's gas machines they brought, and we're doing massage and stuff. They're awesome. I'm trying to get them all to come out to Music and Sky. There was a lot of beautiful souls there that I met that weren't even familiar with Alpha Vedic or us, and now they are. So there's always that benefit you get from going to these events, is you meet awesome new people.
Sure. I want to talk about Music and Sky a little bit too, as well. I do have to add, it was really great to do a workshop, and that was probably, I would say, in all my experiences, the best talk I've ever given.
Wow.
And it wasn't recorded.
I was there. It was a great talk.
It was recorded in Yerasimos's mind. So we're going to have to tap the inert
I was going to
gases of
say
Yerasimos's body to bring out the record. But yeah, the best talk I've ever given, and to have the attention of about 22 people, undivided attention, was such an honor. I mean, I really, Steve Falconer attended that talk, and a bunch of others, Yerasimos and Sophie and so many others. And it was just really great. It was great to have that, again, the production, I would have to give a 10 to the production. It was just tremendous. I mean, I can't think of anything that could have been better. Everyone was at the stage. The program ran fairly right on time for the most part, which is unusual in a lot of these things. So, But yeah, if there's one thing you guys,
Matt, where did you do your workshop? Which part? Which section of the
The concrete slab, right?
yeah, is
Oh.
the concrete slab over down the driveway toward the
Yeah.
restaurant.
They
There's a
had
little
that nice
slab area.
shade. They added shade
Yep.
on there, and they had seating, and they had really pulled that
Exactly.
little. That's where Andy did his workshop, and I was there for a little bit. And I was very impressed with what they were able to knock out in a matter of
And
days.
I know we probably all agree we're going to have a lot of stuff to watch to the replay. You know, I missed
know.
several, so I'm going to be busy over the next month or so catching up on things I didn't get to see. I was working on, you know, the workshop presentation and such.
We're
By the
getting
way,
we're getting like
listeners,
login information, right? For that, I think we get information.
we
On
should
that.
have it.
Yeah.
Again, big shout out to Rebecca, who just did an absolutely fantastic job
Awesome.
stage managing and running things. I remember I missed my flight. I WhatsApped her. I'm like, what do I do? You know, and she's like, it's cool. Get a hotel. You'll be fine. Book your flight for the next day. So it was just a great learning experience. But I want to ask you guys, share what do you think is your favorite takeaway from this trip, and share that, each of you. Start with you, Mike.
Wow, my favorite takeaway, once again, I already sort of hit the nail on the head with it, is how important it is for us to be able to, even if we're coming from completely different cosmologies, you know, because we had flat earthers there, simulationists, round, you know, Walter Russellian science, all these people, but we're able to touch into each other's hearts and to be able to have, you know, civil discourse and see each other for who we are, and that we're all in this together. Like, that was for me the biggest takeaway, because that is how anarchy actually has to work, right? It's like by being able to own yourself and your own emotions, and when you're triggered, to be able to understand that and realize that, and have the consciousness around that, to realize it's you in the mirror, not that individual that's projecting that to you. It's the reflection. That, to me, as I was out meditating in the ocean and really tapping into the nature spirits there, it was about the reflection to me, not the projection.
Very good. Yerasimos.
Yeah, I mean, well said, man. I don't know if I could have said it any better. I mean, for me, again, it was the meeting of the minds, meeting of the hearts, and to come together and to hang out and to talk shit and to just to experience like so much of what it means to be a human being. Like, we're all deep guys, you know. We can dive into areas and do research and be serious, and at the same time, like, we have access to the play, we have access to the shit talking, we have access to, like, you know, let's just have fun. You know, and I like that. I like hanging out with people that are, you know, more integrated and connected and can go in all these different areas and tap into different parts of themselves depending on the situation and the circumstance. So the biggest takeaway for me, because like I'm a community relationship guy, was the relationships that were built. You know, and I feel so blessed to have met Matt in person and to have hung out and to like laugh together and even cry together, man. Like, to have those moments where like tears come up because like we say something to one another and it just comes from the heart, man. And I'm just so grateful for who you are. And for Mike, like, every single event we get to hang out more and more and more and get to know each other more and to just shoot the shit. And like, I love it. Even yeah, the video that came up now with Curtis Stone did the live stream with like a whole bunch of people for 3 hours, and I got to jump on the last 30 minutes and chat with you guys. Like, that was so much fun. But again, I just inspired too to be around brilliant human beings.
Yep.
To go, hey, listen, I have my little piece of the puzzle of things that I'm interested in. And then you sit there with an open mind and open heart and listen to other people speak about what lights them up, about what they're passionate about. And I'm like, this is so fucking awesome. And like what you said, Mike, about anarchy, it's like, do you know yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you honor yourself? And then do you give that to another? You know,
Yep.
that's where community comes into play. This isn't about sacrificing yourself for some collective. It's about fully owning who you are and then coming together with other people that own who they are, love who they are, and are healthy, mind, body, and spirit. And hopefully have enough of a regulated nervous system that when you do get into a little disagreement, that like the shit doesn't blow up. And
Yeah.
so that, for me, like, I love that. And those are the
It's
people
well
I want to
said.
spend time with.
We had no blow-ups that I know of.
No.
Right. No drama.
No drama.
Other than some sickness here and there.
Yeah.
And
And
again,
I
this
will
is where,
say Curtis Stone gets the Energizer Bunny Award for the week.
oh, dude, he's a machine, man. I
That
love it.
guy, God, boundless
he
energy.
was bouncing off the walls. I was fortunate. I guess I ate enough hot stuff. I was guzzling hot stuff at the restaurants. So whatever.
What
I
was
think that.
Matt? What was your takeaway from it?
Well, my takeaway is the two big ones are sitting here right now with me on this podcast. Getting to see you guys really, Yerasimos, and Sophie, of course. But there's many other people, but it was really great because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, and it was just a lot of back and forth in my mind, like maybe I should get more work done, maybe I should do this. But one of the biggest things was I can't miss the opportunity to see Mike Winner and Yerasimos for Mike for the second time, Yerasimos for the first, and to me that was a big thing to want to be a part of that. So I was fortunate to have the time to do it. And also, one of the big things is the startup company I'm in, getting to meet Curtis Stone in particular, because we're going to be needing to do a lot of networking when we go to a product line, and networking in terms of homesteaders, overlanders, people that are off grid. These are the kinds of things we're going to be able to really, with the kind of work I'm doing, put something out into the world through this grassroots effort, you could say. But big takeaway, you two guys are just fantastic folks, and getting to hang with you guys and Zach and so many others was just a highlight for me, I think, and the camaraderie that we shared, and the concern for one another, and just genuine heart experiences, which are so rare these days. Even in your own family, it's like you don't quite get that kind of togetherness as much as you'd like to. But when you're dealing with people that have gone through their own dark night of the soul, is on their own hero's journey, you could say, and you have a mutual respect for each other's journey, and that person is really striving to do the best they can to better themselves, and to help others in the self-betterment process. You give away your best gifts by being the gifts you want to see given away, you could say. Be the inspiration you seek in the world, so to speak.
Well said.
Man.
And I just want to push this event too, guys. I'm going to share the screen one more time, but this is an upcoming event. One of you guys probably want to talk about it. I'd love to come to it, but why don't you give a little background on the Music and Sky production?
Yeah, so Music and Sky is my baby. I do with my partners Owen and Matt. We started this in 2020 in the heart of the lockdown in California, uh, when Governor Gruesome Newsom was trying to essentially stop us from gathering in person. Going back to how important that is to gather in person. And we said, no, we're gonna meet up anyways. And so because all the festivals had canceled, all the promoters were totally buying into the propaganda. So we created Music and Sky to essentially celebrate life and art and coming together. And we're now coming in on our 6th festival. It's really unique in that it's a festival grounded in health and wellness, but also very much playful, like we've been talking about today. And also, people understand law, they understand sovereignty, they understand universal law, natural law, who they're trying to essentially embody these concepts in their life. And they're open to exploration, they're open to spiritual side as well. So it's really unique in that sense, where it's kind of a combination of sort of the spiritual festival with sort of the sovereign conference, and then also the very grounded concepts around permaculture and the law and all that stuff. So this one is really unique. We're trying something different. We've always had this plan, but we're moving into more of an open source type event. So the idea is the community's really progressed over the years to the point where Matt, Owen, and I can kind of let let loose a little bit in terms of the reins of control and allow the community to step up and self organize from the bottom up and create this event in a way that's more in flow. And we will curate and, bring in specific speakers and musicians and all that and bring our beautiful production. But it's really more of an open source event this year. So anybody who's feeling called to come speak, you can sign up to have time on the main stage and actually be heard. We're way less sort of officials, on stage than everybody sort of sitting and looking up at the experts. It's no, we're all have something to contribute, and we really want to embrace that. So that's a big part. And then also this idea of service. We stress, being of service to the community. So we have volunteer tickets where we're trying to make this as affordable as possible, so everybody that wants to attend can attend. So money is not an issue. So you can there's different tickets that are volunteer shift tickets, up to 3 shift tickets, up to 3 shifts for a ticket. So you can right now come to Music and Sky for as little, I believe, as $175 by doing 3 volunteer shifts. And this is 4 nights of immersive camping in a beautiful off-grid space in Mendocino County, California, at the gateway to the Redwoods. We have the 10-mile creek that flows through the space that you can literally float on to main stage. And really, I can let Yerasimos speak to this, but the main thing that makes this event so powerful is the community, are the souls you're with there. There's nothing like it that I've ever been to. Confluence, which is a follow-up sort of event, like a sister event, is somewhat similar, that Alex Zek and Eileen McCusick really wanted to sort of do a Music and Sky in Texas. And so that's very similar, and that's happening in April for the upcoming solar eclipse. So if you want to make it to that, that's a great event too. Confluenceevents.com or confluenceevent.com. Music and Sky is happening June 20th through the 24th on summer solstice. So the longest day of the year. Beautiful weather that time of the year in NorCal, just absolutely perfect weather, not too hot, not too cold. And I'll just say this, like if you're seeking community, Music and Sky, we know people who have now been married that they've met at Music and they've met their partner at Music and Sky. We have our own online community platform. So when you purchase a ticket, you get automatically included as a event attendee in the back end. So there you can join your community, the event group and volunteer groups, and see all the other groups there talking about all different topics. And it's just been a fun ride, man. And I'm really excited about this event. We're going bigger than ever. We're aiming at 1,000 attendees. And we're playing around with some fun ideas right now. Alex Zek, Yerasimos, and I have been talking about this 3-on-3 basketball tournament we're trying to do. So I'm looking to bring in a half court, like a fully pro style half court, and actually organize a 3-on-3 basketball tournament that will go on during the entire event, and will culminate in a championship with certain awards and stuff. And we're talking about getting sponsors and everybody having their team jerseys and all that, really having fun with it. So it's
all right. Dr. Bear, Joel, and me against you 3.
Well,
there we go.
I think we may have our squad. We'll see. We have to figure it out. But
Okay.
Yeah,
bring it, man.
I'm excited, man. I love Music and Sky. This will be our 5th event that Sophie and I are going to. I couldn't make the first one because of scheduling challenges in 2020, but it's just changed my life. I mean, even just getting closer with Mike, but all the people that I've met there, the relationships that have been built, the connections that have been made, the hugs that have been given. Like, what an incredible event. And again, Confluence as well. Like, these are my people. It's not, we have fun, we dance, but it's not about just partying and going completely unconscious and then waking up the next morning and feeling like shit. It's about just love and community and connection and being grounded and respecting one another and honoring one another. And I love it. I cannot wait for this next event. I love the changes that are happening that the 3 of you are bringing towards this. I'm looking forward to it being larger. I'm looking forward to more people having the opportunity to come. Because of the price point is a little different as well. And and when that basketball tournament happens, I'm pretty stoked, man. I got to dust off my basketball shoes and get back into shape and get back to how I was when I was playing in my 20s.
Get you a pair of them Get you a pair of them gold Trump sneakers, bro. You'll be
Yeah, the new Trump sneakers. That's
you'll
hilarious.
be a dominator.
But honestly, anyone listening to this, like, I'm not really like a huge event guy. I don't like kind of leaving my home too often. I don't like huge crowds, but it's a whole different vibe. And what Mike and Matt and Owen have created is pretty special, and it continues to evolve. And
every year I've broken down and cried at that event in a way that's shockingly crying. And it's like every year there's some sort of progression with each event towards a higher gnosis, a higher understanding of who I am and where we're going with everything. And it's almost like flaking off, years of trauma and stuff that we all have gone through in this realm. It happens at Music and Sky. So there's definitely, we do the work there too. Like breath work, ice baths, deep somatics, right? Really getting in tune with our body machine and why we're here. And so the sky, that's the sky part. The sky part is the deep inner work. It's the philosophical side. It's the spiritual side. And then the music side is the cultural explosion of fun. It's the dancing, it's the music, it's the art gallery. It's all the expression that everybody brings. And we asked that everybody, we don't have attendees at Music and Sky. We have collaborators. Everybody's a collaborator. So this is our full family-friendly camp out. We have an amazing, at this event space, an amazing, we're calling it the Kids Glen, I believe, but it's the sort of like pressed hovel of a little natural area that has a, build out a hay slide. Kids can slide down. It's like a 20-foot hay slide. And we're going to do, I believe we're going to do this, a big pool full of corn kernels, dried corn kernels they can dive into and just make it really fun for the kids. We'll do like a kids parade and have lots of programming for the children because that's the future. And I love this event because you just have kids running around everywhere. We really want to create the sovereign village where everybody co-creates. So you just are strolling around with all these little delights left and right. And all these people are bringing their creative expression. So I cannot wait.
That's great. All right. So that's musicandsky.com. Mike, why don't you go ahead and give your websites out for folks if they're not familiar, how to get in touch with you or check out your work, you and Dr. Bear.
Yeah, you can find everything at alphavedic.com, ALFAVEDIC.com. We have our own private community there you can join for as little as $5 a month and to access all of the really incredible resources and information there and workshops. And we'll be basically, we're about to launch the End of COVID on there. So if you missed that, you can actually get full access to all of the End of COVID. Which was a 90+ sessions, amazing summit, really terrain education that we did last year with law workshops and all sorts of stuff that you can tap into on that. And then the other project I'm involved with besides Music and Sky is Chordal, which is a decentralized new internet, essentially. And that's QORTAL.org, Chordal.QORTAL.org. That is hitting massive strides this year. I'm very excited about that project. It's going to be a solution we're all going to need moving into the more extreme censorship on the digital realm as we move towards 2030.
Hello.
Did Matt freeze?
I think Matt froze a little bit. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
running all these windows. Why don't you give us your
yeah, well, I see that you have
sites.
it up already, but
Yep.
you can go to our main site, Joel, Rafidi, Joel and I. We have Here for the Truth, so hereforthetruth.com. That's the main hub for our podcast. But from there, also, you can get to our group coaching program, Rise Above the Herd. We're running the 9th round of it. It starts March 26th, so we're about to launch. We personally think it's one of a kind of an internal personal development program that really, gets you to do all the stuff we were talking about before about owning yourself, loving yourself, and really walking your authentic path unapologetically. And then Friends of the Truth is our community that we created, where we got, we have like 6 calls a month. We have a live podcast Q&A. Both of you guys were part of it. We have a German New Medicine study group. We have an astrological weather update. We have a nervous system tune-up call that Sophie leads. We have community calls, and then we have a pop-in Telegram community with like 20 different subthreads where we dive into a whole bunch of conversations. So again, like I said, in person communities are the shit, but if you can't, to be able to connect and communicate with people all around the world is pretty special. So, here for the truth, rise above the herd, friends of the truth. That's what Joel and I have going on right now. And we're looking forward to continuing to see how things evolve.
Well, that's awesome, guys. I promised you 1 hour, and I'm pretty close to sticking to it because I know you guys got to jump to other stuff. But let me just say again to all the listeners and to you two especially how great it was to meet you guys in the flesh. And, there's more people out there like us than we really actually know. And there's a lot of people who are resisting this great reset, and they're doing all the great work, the hero's journey, all of the above to make this world a better place. And just keep working on yourself, folks. That's the important thing, because if you don't do the work, nobody will. And with that, I just want to say, guys, love you, and I'll see you down the road, hopefully at Music and Sky, right?
Yeah,
yes, we're going to get Presti there.
Let's do it. Love you, bro. Mike,
love you guys
man.
too.
Can't wait to see you guys again soon.
Cool. Talk again soon.
All right.
Take care.